Yes, where are we? Yes, on the banks of Vishwamitri, on the land of Lakshmi Vilas Palace. Yes, you're right, we are at Vadodara. वडोदरा में आज हम मिलने आए हैं एक ऐसी स्कूल से जो अपने आप में अमिताभ बच्चन कहलाती है. वो जहाँ खड़े होते हैं लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है. Yes, I'm talking about the great quality input school which has got amazing alumni, amazing teacher and a great process. We are talking about Navrachana School, Vadodara. Navrachana School में हम मिलेंगे मिस तेजल अमीन से, जिन्होंने नवरचना को नवरचना बनाया, जिन्होंने नवरचना की उपलब्धियों में अपना नाम कैसे आगे किया. मिस तेजल अमीन के थॉट प्रोसेस, उनका विजन, आइए हम जानेंगे किस तरह से नवरचना बना और आगे बढ़ रहा है. Ma'am, before we start interacting with you, I would like to understand how was baby Tejal as a student and what were her aspirations?
I come from a family of girls. We are 3 sisters, and my father said he was the luckiest man on earth to have 3 daughters. I schooled at Convent of Jesus and Mary in Baroda, a premier school.
Yes.
And I remember my childhood both at school and at home of being a very happy childhood. I grew up doing a lot of things. I did well at academics, and my teachers always said that I was a very strong, self-willed, opinionated person. Opinionated in the sense I had views and I stuck up for them. I grew up with strong values. I am still a doer. I call myself a workaholic because that is the only way I know how to live.
Live life.
Yes.
So ma'am, when you were growing, was there anything in the mind that you would be the front engine of such a beautiful school that you have gifted to this country? Did you ever think of being an educator?
Well, I never thought I would come into education, frankly. First, it was about being a doctor, like a lot of conventional, thinking. Then it moved to other things. Finally, I took up commerce. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I took up dancing very actively. So a career in performing arts was an option. Eventually, I came into business, and I married into a family which had a large business. And my mother-in-law, Savita Amin, was an educator, and we had one Navrachana School. And I accidentally came into the management of Navrachana in those days because she was very ill. And I told her at that time that, I don't have a background in education. Yeah. She said, you are an intelligent girl and you will learn by doing, you will read, you will meet people, and I will teach you. So that is how I came into education. Navrachana School was at a difficult stage, challenging stage at that time. I think what I learned from educationists like Dr. T.K.S. Lakshmi, who is a known teacher trainer, a well-known teacher trainer, and Dr. Patankar, who was doing projects with us at that time. And we came up with a curriculum for environmental science for our primary classes. At that time, even in grade 1, 2, 3, social studies and general science were 2 subjects, which we thought for 6, 7, 8-year-olds was a bit too much.
Right.
So we combined the 2 and came up with environment science in those days. And that was a novel curriculum that was developed by Navrachana for our early primary students.
What an example of हम चलते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
Wow. Ma'am, you've created such big successful students. Your alumni is very strong. What does success mean to you? And how do you measure success as per the demand of 21st century education?
First of all, how did Navrachana grow? Our growth is very organic. If I have to talk about something that I brought to Navrachana School at that time, was a very, very well-defined management strategy. Which was, so we came up with a 3-tier structure like we have in corporates. We generally had coordinators or supervisors, as we call them in schools, who hold that position temporarily, for a year or 2 years. It's a revolving position. And I felt that in order to install or instill, a culture of best practices, you need to have people who are permanently in those positions.
Yes.
So we brought in coordinators who were not revolving coordinators. They were appointed as coordinators and they would remain coordinators. They would grow from there to higher positions, but they would not become teachers and another teacher would not become a coordinator. So that kind of revolving process which existed at that time was something that we did away with. And we brought in certain reporting MIS systems into our school, whereby we established good academic practices, good administrative practices, and the school became strong. Teachers were better informed of what was expected from them. Their review and hand-holding and guidance. Our children grew, and the demand for Navrachana grew. We are fortunate that we were in a time, at that time, where holistic education, holistic is now a cliched word, everybody uses it. But in those days, there were very few schools that were offering holistic education, whereby about 60% of the time is devoted to academics and 40% is learning through activities, co-curricular as we call them. We had at that time a counseling department, a counselor in school, which was unheard of in those days.
Absolutely.
Now, by regulation,
everyone
you are required to have counselors, but we had a counselor who looked after the emotional health of students, etc. We had meals, which were compulsory, because we believed that if a child is coming to school at 7:30 from ages 3 until 18, if you give them a freshly cooked meal at 10 or 10:30 versus a tiffin box that they carry from home
from morning 6
from
o'clock.
morning 6 o'clock, and it's something that is prepared in a hurry, it's more dry, it's not a balanced, nutritious meal. We believe that the kind of nutrition and calories that a child needs midday helps in the emotional, physical and mental growth.
Right.
So I think this entire program that we had led to students being happy.
Okay.
I think if there is one factor which is very important for anything to be effective, is for you to be happy doing what you're doing.
Right.
Right? I mean, now we are all accepting it. But in those days, I'm talking about 40 years ago.
It was tough.
These were concepts which were not there.
Absolutely.
So I think the happiness quotient of our children led to their performance being above average. They excelled. When you ask me what is the definition of success, I think for me success is doing the best that you can do.
Right.
And when you are doing the best that you can do as a habit, Aristotle has said, success is excellence. Navrachana strives for excellence. We accept and we believe that children are gifted. Each child is gifted. They are gifted differently. And we celebrate the talent and abilities of different children in different fields.
Wow.
So I think that is why our students have succeeded. We are also fortunate to have parents who believe in the philosophy of Navrachana's education. And together, I think the home and the school together, we nurture our children so that they are able to blossom. And that is the success, or that is the secret for how
the
our
recipe of
students,
Navrachana.
how our students do well. How did we grow? One, that education, Navrachana Education Society is a CSR of our company, Jyoti Limited, and it is not driven by commercial considerations. So expansion was never an agenda, but when we had our CBSE school, we were bursting at the seams. There was a lot of pressure for admissions. Also at that time, the Gujarat government brought in rules for admission to professional courses, whereby students coming from Gujarat board, state board school, would have a better chance at these. And that is how we set up Vidyani, because our parents said they wanted a
state
board school, but they didn't want to move out of the Navrachana system. So the state board school happened. We have a constant need for good teachers. And I want to say that, we are blessed in Vadodara that we had Maharaja Saiji Rao's vision,
the
legacy, which led to MS University, and which and the many public sector corporations that were in and around Baroda, and they all set up, these people, the executives set up home after retirement. So Vadodara has a very cosmopolitan population, and finding good teachers who can teach in English
is comparatively
easy in Vadodara as compared to other cities of Gujarat. And yet we had a need for good teachers, for which we set up a college for teacher education, affiliated at that time to SNDT University.
Wow.
Yes. And because my daughter went to an international school, I saw how the pedagogy, with more or less the same content, was training students to develop new skills and competencies which are required in this knowledge age. Creativity, critical thinking, knowledge, sourcing information and knowledge, creating knowledge, constructivism as we call it in education. So these are skills, self-learning, which are promoted through the IB program. So we set up the Navrachana International School.
I am Theophane D'Souza, and I am the principal of Navrachana International School, Vadodara. This school was established in the year 2006, and we were authorized in 2006 to offer the IB, the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. What is it that makes NISV tick? I think it's the robustness of our program, and this robustness comes from the varied activities that we have, both curricular and co-curricular. We have our children placed in various universities, top-notch universities in India and abroad. We have active exchange programs with countries like Sweden, France, Germany, but the curricular robustness of our program is supported by the co-curricular program and our sports program. We have 3 E's that summarize what the school aspires for, and that is educate, empower and enlighten.
We also believe in building values. How do you build character?
Yeah, because you are in a Sanskari Nagari, that comes within.
Correct. No, but building character, I remember that we generally have moral science class or a value education class, and a teacher comes in and talks about it.
No, it has to be a part of daily life.
Correct. So you cannot teach values on the blackboard or through talking. It is by demonstration,
it goes every moment,
and by doing.
Yes.
Right. So we set up Navrachana, which is a school for the less privileged children. We have about 250 to 400, number varies, coming into school at 2 o'clock at the Navrachana High Secondary Summer School, using the same infrastructure.
I'm Suprabha Menon, principal of Navrachana School, Sama. This school was established in 1967, and it is the first school of the Navrachana Education Society. The school's educational philosophy is summed up in its motto, fostering the spirit of excellence. We are known as much for our academic program as we are known for the co-curricular activities that we conduct, leading to the holistic development of our students. Innovation and creativity is the cornerstone of our educational program. The children are given a lot of opportunities to benchmark with the best nationally and internationally, and our students have made their mark in the area of academics, sports, performing and visual arts, science and technology. We are also very focused about grooming leaders. So our children get to taste leadership at a very early age. We also focus a lot on our core human values. So our children, through their experiences in school, turn out to be empathetic individuals who care about their peers, their society and the environment.
Giving back not as charity but as an obligation. The kind of children who come to Navrachana schools and to the university come from well-off homes.
Right.
They probably don't know what struggle or want is, and to sensitize them that there are a whole lot of people who don't have what we have,
Yeah.
just because they were born somewhere else. You have it because you're born somewhere.
Born somewhere.
So when we have something, we need to share, we need to give, we need to see that everybody has a
Privilege.
good enough, if not equal, reasonably good opportunity to find a better life for themselves.
So ma'am, when you initiated, of course now what you think the parent thinks, because they've started trusting in you, they've started believing in you. But when you initiated, your thought process would have varied from the thought process of a parent, because as a parent generally thinks marks kitne aa jayenge 10th mein or 12th mein. But here when you promote values, when you promote more of creativity or more of multiple different things, how do parents supported you in those ways of life?
Well, you are very right that our culture is very marks oriented, and parents
Absolutely.
want their children to know more, to do well in the test, and the aspiration is that they pass out of school and get into better higher education
Right.
institutions, which will give them a better start in life.
Yes.
I think the difference is when they saw that their children were excelling at different things.
Yeah.
When we celebrated a child who is good in sports as much as a child who is good in academics, there was self-esteem. We believe that if a child tastes success, even a little small measure of success, it could be art, it could be performing arts, it could be sports, it could be academics, anything. The self-esteem goes up. I'm capable of something. I'm good.
Yes.
I achieved this. That becomes the engine for the child to then work towards something bigger and better.
Bigger and better. And even parents align their
And
thought.
then the parents also see that the child is making progress. At Navrachana, the competition is not with the others. The competition is with yourself. So if you have done something in your first term, doing better than what you did yesterday, that ethos has, I think, also convinced parents that this is the way to go. We still have parents sometimes who come and ask that why are you doing only 10 spellings per week.
Okay, you still
in
have
grade 4?
agitations coming?
Yeah, no, we have some parents who come and say that, but this is all no homework. Especially parents who come from other schools or from other cities. Oh, but there's very little homework. So we say that where is the time for the child to observe, to reflect, to have downtime doing nothing.
To inquire.
Yeah, to inquire, to think on his own or her own, and over time then they realize what we are trying to do.
As a school, how do you deal with diverse learning needs of these kids?
Yes, that is a very good question. So we have, what we recognize as multiple MI, multiple Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences, and our lesson plans at Navrachana are made in a manner whereby we are able to address at least 2 or 3 intelligences in a given class.
So you prepare your own
yes,
curriculum?
our lesson plans are completely done by our teachers. Of course, curriculum until grade 10 is done by us. Now, of course, we have NCERT textbooks which kind of give us a broad idea of the kind of curriculum we want and we need to have. But within that, I have to say that, there is tremendous amount of flexibility depending on how much you want to take. And today I have to say that in this day and age, in fact, I also want to mention that we are also a very futuristic looking society. My husband Rahul Amin, when he came back from Cornell in 1980, we saw in 1978, but in 1980 when the personal computer came out, he said that we need to teach computers in schools. So from 81 or 82 onwards, we had computer classes.
Wow.
So we started our computer teaching through that, completely unheard of. Well, we did have parents who said, what is the use of this? We said, no, this is the future. And in 2004, in order to promote, more computer literacy in schools, the Union Ministry of Information Technology came up with an award for private schools and government schools. And Navrachana, I'm very proud to say, Navrachana Higher Secondary School won the national award for computer literacy in schools.
So when it is awards,
given by the President, Dr. Abdul Kalam.
Oh my goodness.
The kind of software that is now available came into schools. We were one of the early schools that grabbed it with both hands.
Yes.
The first training that happened was by Intel Teach the Future.
Okay.
So we had lots of teachers who underwent that training.
Training of technology.
Training for technology using, of course, at that time it was, basically using Microsoft.
Yes.
But that was a very big deal. And today we are using so many softwares.
Right.
And I think these softwares have taken learning to the next level.
Absolutely, ma'am.
What teachers did in class at that time.
They've enhanced the
Yes.
things.
So you are not learning today, the teacher is not spending time at that base level.
Right.
A lot of our teaching now have about, at least I would say 30 to 40% of the teacher's time in the classroom is spent on critical thinking, developing other skills, because the content is taken care of. The basic understanding and comprehension of the content is taken care of through various softwares.
Right. So ma'am, what we see is, from culture to adapting technology, you have always been on the forefront. Of course, you are the Amitabh Bachchan of whenever there is an award, आप जहाँ खड़े होते हो line वहीं से शुरू होती है. That's how it goes. Along with this, we also would like to understand, with the change of, as you mentioned, you have been training the teachers. So with the change of time, what care do you feel to upgrade your teachers? Because many a times schools feel, I train and they move out, so all my training goes to waste. So how do you take care of training the teachers and retention of them?
I always say that Navrachana Education Society is blessed because our attrition rates are very low. Low attrition is a blessing. Now, training of teachers is a continuous process.
Yeah.
We believe that I believe in the philosophy. I myself believe that every day I learn something.
True.
Right? And if I have to keep evolving, we are on a learning curve always. There is never a point where you feel you've arrived. And especially in today's scenario where technology is forcing us to, change so much. Training teachers, exposing them to, the new technologies that are coming, exposing them to new pedagogies,
new updates,
best practices, sending them out, even overseas for workshops, for longer, periods of training, has somehow created a culture of learning.
Yeah.
We spend a good amount of our resources on teacher training.
On teachers training.
Yes, and the other aspect, I think, where the low attrition also happens is that, of course, one is remuneration, but second is job satisfaction. At Navrachana, teachers have the freedom to innovate, to try new things. Every teacher has an ownership of whatever he or she is teaching. Whenever they come up with better ideas, they are applauded, they are celebrated. And I think that learning culture also then, even when we have new people, new teachers joining, it is infectious.
Yes.
So they also kind of...
And as commonly said, ma'am, I think majority of the people quit job because they don't have anything to learn from the higher authorities that they are working with. So if there is a learning, the need or the want of that job would never get reduced, I believe.
Correct, yes. I also believe that in an education institution, infrastructure is important, but it is ultimately the
knowledge
and the people, right?
Yes.
So even when you give software, the kind of software and the kind of use that our teachers make of it
Yes.
versus a teacher who is less exposed or less motivated.
And how
Could be
creatively you
different.
can mold it through with your own
Correct,
skills,
correct.
which is more important.
Yes. And then we have students who challenge us.
Absolutely.
We are blessed that most of our students are above average.
And they are the
And-
digital natives, so they know it
Correct,
better.
Yes, absolutely. So they challenge the teachers. And that is how, that learning and that circle keeps expanding and keeps moving faster, and it's exciting.
So, ma'am, in the school, we were just taking the round in the school with our team. We saw a gymnasium in the school. We saw a swimming pool, such a huge size swimming pool in the school. We saw so many different amenities here. How do you prepare students for the life beyond school?
See, it's one reason why the Navrachana International School was set up as a school with very expanded infrastructure is because we believe that certain things are life skills.
Absolutely.
So swimming is a life skill.
Okay.
We teach it as a life skill, and it also gives that much more little excitement to
Right.
come to school every day. And if a child gets up every morning excited about wanting to come to school, 50% of your
Work is
done.
done.
It's like, you go to a doctor, and if you have faith in the doctor, half your cure is
Cure
there,
is done.
right? And sports, we have come to realize, and there are studies which prove it, that physical activity on a regular daily basis stimulates the mind, improves concentration, memory, retention, all of that. Students have to play on a regular basis. You do need larger facilities, infrastructure, sports facilities. And that is how we have set up the school. This was the last school that we set up. So we set it up with the future in mind. And I think our students, their placements, their achievements validate what we are doing. The other thing, when we were talking of teachers, I also wanted to, and attrition is, with the training, we also give growth opportunities to our teachers. So in most of our schools, our principals today are teachers who joined us as primary teachers.
Oh,
And over a period of 8-10 years,
they grew.
they grew to head those schools or to, come into,
Rather, they grew with your culture to know your school.
yes, know our school, go beyond the school, I would
Yes.
say, learn from outside, grow themselves. I mean, they're also motivated.
Ma'am, I also see that the teachers or the principals who retire from Navrachana, they are still as a part of advisors, or they are still as a part of some giveaway back to the school.
Yes. So they stay with us as as advisors, or as in different capacities,
Yes.
where they are handling certain other aspects
Right.
of the society's functions, education programs. We have Mrs. Mishra, who is handling our schooling for Nav Kaushalya, and also for a tribal school, a school for the tribal children that we run for the Tribal Department of Government of Gujarat. She's the academic director of that school. And we have Mrs. Bakshi, who is still associated with us for our various co-curricular activities. And we also have our great alumni association, NEXA. So our students who are very well placed,
Yes.
touch wood, God bless them, who come back and share their experiences with our current students, guide them, mentor them. And that whole family is something that is very precious.
Do your students come back as teachers?
The culture or the value of giving back
Gets
becomes
translated,
becomes part of their own mindset. And we believe that as children who come out of schools like Navrachana are decision makers of the future.
Right.
So when they are making decisions, they will always have an inclusive mindset approach. That how is it going to, this decision or this project, how is it going to be more inclusive? How is it going to impact the people around me? So, you are widening your influence or your mindset from yourself or your family to the community. Now, this is good education. It's not just about passing exams and getting good marks. The other, value system of inclusivity, which of course our Honorable Prime Minister Modi Sahab has been talking very extensively. The word Divyang for differently abled
students.
is something that we have been doing for a long time.
Oh,
We have more than, at Navrachana Sama, we have more than 117 students with special learning needs. And these are integrated in the classroom. Some of them where the, where the disability is acute, we require the parent to provide a shadow teacher, because sometimes children are not conducive to a classroom atmosphere. And these children, because CBSE has special, arrangements for these students, they pass out and they have productive lives. Our children, the whole reason for having these children, one is to give them opportunity to come, and when they are with normal children, their ability to come out of the disability is better.
it's better. Yes.
They get mainstreamed much in a more effective manner. And secondly is for our normal students, mainstream students, to develop the sensitivity that they are a part of us, and we take them along. And this experience, I got convinced about this in grade 1 when Subbalakshmi, my daughter, came to grade 1, and she had this, we had a student with special needs in her class, and how she would, she would come and share that, oh mummy, today I was with Angana because I sat with her and I told her, you please take down from the board quickly, I'm waiting for you. Because the other children in the recess, when the bell rings or they are rush out. Some of them stay back, and she said, I got her to finish her work quickly, and then we went out, and I saw how
human.
How important it is to build this value.
True.
When you give opportunity to children to engage with these special needs people,
They learn on their own.
They learn on their own, and they embrace them.
Yes.
And this is what we need as a society.
True.
So this is another very important value that Navrachana inculcates.
Changed time to time. You have transformed yourself, you have adapted technology, you have made sure that you run with the modern era, just not staying back conventional. Navrachana has been a part of Vadodara. Navrachana has been, rather being Navrachana, being Navprerna, I at times feel Navvadodara. So, any plans for Navrachana as a society to expand their wings to other cities, other states, somewhere beyond Vadodara?
We've had a lot of offers from various people who want to partner with us to set up schools in other cities, within our city. But for Navrachana, our passion comes out of doing things, being on our campuses, dealing with our teachers, looking at our students, engaging with them. And that is why probably we have remained local.
So we would not see you maybe in Ahmedabad or in Mumbai or in Delhi?
We have toyed with those ideas, but we have, we are spoiled in Baroda. The kind of teachers that we have, the kind of teacher pool that is available in Baroda is not available in other cities.
So you don't want to experiment with your quality, you say?
And yes, and the quality, not being confident of maintaining the quality is what has prevented us from stepping out. I don't know what the future holds, inshallah.
But then how does the larger mass have blessing of what Navrachana can inculcate to their coming generations?
Come to Navrachana.
Okay, ma'am, to end this, we would like to have 5 rapid fire with you, which we need quick one-liner or one-statement answers. It starts now. If Tejal ma'am is given a character in a Bollywood, what would it be?
My problem is I don't watch films that much.
Akbar se leke Sambha tak ya Gabbar tak, you can be anything.
Oh my God, I can't think of that.
Oh my God, okay. If given one chance to contest election What ministry would you opt for?
Education.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Okay. मुझे लगा कॉमर्स या इंडस्ट्री.
नहीं, बिल्कुल
नहीं. 3 food items which Miss Tejal Amin cannot live long without.
Eggs.
Protein.
Dhokla.
Oh my God, अचानक से. Carbs.
The guju, yes, the guju in me.
The guju in you.
Yes, and chocolate. Dark chocolate.
As a visitor to Vadodara, which 3 places you suggest for anyone to visit, being a hardcore Barodian?
First of all, the Lakshmi Vilas Palace.
Okay.
Second is the stepwell that we have in Sindrot, very close to us. And the third would be the Vadodara Museum.
Okay. In next birth, what would you like to be? And being that, what changes would you like to make?
I would like to be a woman and maybe be a dancer.
From an educationist to a dancer, which you still are and could be.
Yes, I think one is dancing all the time.
From one school to another to universities, we've seen you dancing all the campuses. Fine, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really nice interacting with you. We came to know a lot of insights about how Navrachana was planted and how it is growing. Yes, of course, we lag a lot of its benefits in other states and other districts. But yes, of course, if you want to have the benefit, welcome to Vadodara. So Navrachana welcomes you. And one of the most cutest thing that Vadodara and Navrachana has, ma'am, how did you make this? What is this?
So this is the crocodile.
Okay.
Cairo the croc. Crocodile is, we have embraced crocodiles as our city's animal. Vishwamitri, the river that flows through Vadodara, has probably the largest population of crocodiles in this area. And Cairo from croc is a name given by our students when we adopted the crocodile as a mascot.
Wow, amazing. Such a beautiful mascot. So people feel it danger when you see a crocodile. But Navrachana has embraced it. Wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. Nice meeting you. Nice interacting with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
It
ma'am.
has been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What an insightful discussion it was. Navrachana School, Navrachana University, Navrachana CSR projects, Navrachana building culture for not only Vadodara but also for India and globe altogether. What an insightful conversation with Miss Tejal Amin. Actually जानने मिला that culture, technology और modern civilization का blend करके किस तरह से हम एक नया इतिहास बना सकते हैं. Amazing discussion with Miss Tejal Amin at Navrachana School, Vadodara. Do write to us, comment and share that where and when and which school would you like to see once again with us. Thank you.